There comes a time in every person's life when he must pause, look around at the noise, the distractions, the opinions of others, and ask himself one vital question: is this the life I want to live, or am I simply existing by the demands of everything and everyone around me? You see, too many people walk through life with their eyes open, but their minds shut. They chase what others are chasing. They desire what others desire. They complain about time while wasting it on things that bring no growth, no peace, no power. It is not a lack of time that keeps people from rising. It is the misuse of time, and the greatest misuse of time is when you invest your energy in everything except yourself. The moment you begin to focus on yourself, not selfishly, but strategically, you begin to unlock the doors of destiny. For there is something within you that this world has never seen before, something divine, something powerful, something rare, but you cannot access it while you're constantly peeking into someone else's life, comparing your journey, doubting your path, delaying your purpose. Every hour spent scrolling through someone else's highlight reel, every moment spent trying to prove something to someone who doesn't even care, every conversation that drains your energy, steals something from you. It steals your power, it steals your focus, and focus, my friend, is the currency of greatness. Let me tell you something about focus. It is not merely the ability to concentrate. It is the discipline to say no to everything that does not serve your higher self. It is the courage to withdraw from the crowd and enter the silence where all progress begins. You must reach a point where your future becomes more exciting than your distractions, where your purpose becomes more valuable than their opinions, where your vision becomes so clear that wasting time becomes painful, and yet many will never arrive at that point. Why? Because it requires separation. It requires turning down invitations, cutting off conversations, walking away from comfort, and committing to growth. It requires becoming obsessed, not with how others see you, but with how you see yourself, because if you don't take yourself seriously, the world never will. You have a mind that can create, a soul that can feel, and a body that can move mountains. But those gifts decay when you give them away carelessly. You were not born to entertain the meaningless. You were not placed here to babysit your potential while others live boldly in theirs. Stop wasting time waiting for motivation, waiting for the right mood, waiting for someone to believe in you. No one is coming. No one is obligated to see your vision. That burden is yours alone. The question is, will you carry it or drop it? You must stop blaming time and start managing yourself. A man with purpose doesn't need more hours. He needs more intention. A woman with direction doesn't beg for more days. She dominates the ones she has. The problem isn't the day being too short. The problem is too many people are living it with no aim, no strategy, no self-respect. The time you are wasting now is the time you'll be begging for later. The conversations you indulge in now are the seeds of distraction that will grow into regret. Don't you see? You are standing on the battlefield of your own destiny, and every time you pick up your phone to escape reality, every time you complain instead of create, every time you engage in gossip instead of growth, you are surrendering the war. You are not tired, you are uninspired, you are not lazy, you are distracted. The human spirit is not built for stagnation. It is made for movement, progress, discipline, and vision. But the world around you is pulling you to stay average, stay still, stay relatable. Let them be comfortable. You must be focused. There is power in silence, power in solitude, power in choosing you over everything else. Your mind must become the temple where only useful thoughts are allowed in. Your time must become sacred, guarded like gold. Your energy must be preserved for things that multiply your value. Do you know why so many fail? Not because they lack talent, not because they lack resources, but because they never truly decided to lock in. They never chose to go all in on themselves. They kept one foot in the world of comfort and one toe in the waters of their dreams, and as a result, they drown in mediocrity. You cannot build a powerful life with a weak focus. You cannot rise by investing in everything except your own development. You want more out of life, then give more to yourself, feed your mind, discipline your habits, master your mornings, guard your evenings. You owe it to the person you're becoming to stop living like the person you used to be. Stop making time for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. Stop engaging in arguments that lead nowhere. Stop proving yourself to those who will never understand your mission. Your future is too important to keep it on hold for the sake of approval, distraction, or pleasure. You were not born to blend in, you were born to break through, and breakthrough comes only when the inner voice becomes louder than the outer noise. That voice, buried under layers of self, doubt, comparison, and wasted time, is still speaking. It's saying, focus, commit, build now, not tomorrow, not when you're ready, now. The truth is, you don't need another motivational quote. You don't need another perfect morning routine. You don't need a new planner, a new podcast, or a productivity app. What you need is a decision, a real one, a line in the sand, a moment where you say, I've had enough of drifting, enough of wishing, enough of consuming more than I create. I'm taking it all back. My time, my power, my life. The longer you delay your focus, the more expensive it becomes, and I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the toll it takes on your spirit, the quiet erosion of your confidence, the slow fading of your potential, the dreams that die not because they were impossible, but because they were ignored. No one will hand you the life you want. No one will beg you to rise. The world will let you scroll forever, argue endlessly, and waste your gifts until you are a shell of what you could have been. And that's why you must become the one who decides differently. Decide to wake up earlier, not to impress anyone, but to meet yourself. In the quiet, in the discipline, in the solitude. Decide to walk away from what doesn't grow you, even if it entertains you. Decide to study, to plan, to push, to sweat, to fight. Not because it's easy, but because the alternative is regret. When you focus on yourself, you stop competing, you stop comparing, you stop needing applause. You become so occupied with becoming better that the noise of the world fades into the background, and there, in that sacred place of self-mastery, you begin to move differently, you speak with clarity. You act with boldness, you lead with vision, you have everything you need, but you'll never access it if you keep living for distractions, for pleasure, for approval. This is your time to separate from the average, to outgrow the lazy version of you, to become obsessed with your evolution. Not once in a while, every single day. There is no shortcut, no secret, no magic formula. It all begins with focus, and ends with the person you become because of it. And when you begin living this way, intentional, disciplined, laser-focused, people will notice. They'll say you've changed. They'll whisper that you've become distant, cold, too serious. But understand this, their discomfort is the echo of your elevation. You are not here to please those who are committed to staying the same. You are here to transform, to become the full expression of the greatness that was planted inside you the moment you were born. Every morning you wake up, the clock is ticking, not toward some distant finish line, but toward your opportunity to use this day as the raw material of your future. What you do today, how you think today, what you tolerate today, this is the blueprint of your tomorrow. And if you're not building something with it, then you're tearing something down. There is no neutral in life. You are either constructing the life you want or destroying the one you could have had. So you must become your own project, your own masterpiece. You must study yourself the way a builder studies the land before constructing a monument. Where are the weaknesses? Where is the strength? Where do you need more discipline? Where do you need more courage? Ask yourself the hard questions, challenge your own laziness, call out your own excuses, and when you catch yourself wasting time, don't brush it off, confront it, because every minute matters, every hour is a seed. Every habit is a hammer or a wrecking ball, and if you're not consciously choosing how you spend your energy, then someone else is. The world will find a way to use your time for you if you don't take control of it yourself. Your mind is a garden. It will grow weeds if you don't plant purpose, and remember this, the people you admire, the people who seem unstoppable, unshakable, untouchable, they weren't born with more hours in the day. They simply decided to eliminate what was stealing from them. They sacrificed being liked for being legendary. They refused to waste time on temporary pleasure and instead poured themselves into permanent progress. So what's stopping you? Is it fear, procrastination, the illusion of comfort? Is it the lie that says you have plenty of time, that you can begin tomorrow, that you'll be more motivated next week? Understand that time is not waiting on you. Opportunities are not loyal. Life will keep moving forward whether you rise or not. And while you're busy being distracted, your purpose is sitting in the corner, waiting for you to finally believe, waiting for you to finally show up, not halfway, not when it's easy, but when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when everyone else is taking the day off, because that's where the breakthrough lives, in the moments when everyone else stops. That's where your edge is. That's where you separate yourself, not by talent alone, but by showing up when the world sleeps, by focusing when everyone else is lost in noise, by working when others waste, by choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be committed. You don't need all the answers. You need relentless focus, because consistency over time beats brilliance once in a while. A distracted genius will always lose to a focused underdog. Talent is not the variable, time. Management is, self-leadership is, and leadership begins by taking command of your own life. Refuse to be a passive participant. Refuse to be a victim of distraction. Refuse to look back in 10 years with the bitter taste of regret in your mouth, saying, I could have done more, I could have been more, but I wasted it trying to impress people who never saw me, trying to fit into spaces I was born to outgrow. Don't chase what they're doing. Don't try to keep up with their timelines, their style, their image, their pace. You are not them. You were never meant to be them. Your power is found in alignment, not imitation. The more you study yourself, the less you'll need the world's approval. The more time you invest in knowing who you are, the less interested you'll be in who they think you should be. But this kind of focus requires isolation. It demands separation from the noise. You've got to be willing to disappear for a while, not forever, just long enough to rebuild, to sharpen your tools, to reconnect with your mission, to remind yourself what you're really doing this for. And when you return, you'll be different, you'll speak different, walk different, you'll enter rooms with certainty. You won't beg for attention. You'll command it through energy, not loudness, but presence. Not flashiness, but clarity, and that clarity will terrify those who are still playing small. But let them talk, let them speculate, let them mock what they don't understand, because while they're watching, you're building. While they're relaxing, you're growing. While they're doubting, you're becoming. And soon they won't be able to ignore what's undeniable, not because you told them, but because your results will scream louder than their opinions ever could. So build in silence, focus in private, let your growth speak in public. The time for excuses is over. The time for half effort is done. You are not average. You were never meant to blend in. You were built for something that cannot be reached by people who are easily distracted. And it all begins with that one hard, honest decision. Focus on yourself. Stop wasting time, because the journey doesn't end when you make the decision to focus. It begins there. That choice becomes your foundation. But focus must be renewed daily, sometimes hourly. The world is relentless in its attempts to pull you off course. Notifications, conversations, obligations, temptations. They come dressed as important, but they're designed to drain you. And you'll never reach your highest potential until you start filtering your life like your future depends on it, because it does. You must protect your mental environment the same way you'd protect your home. You wouldn't let just anyone walk into your house and throw garbage on your floor. So why do you let ideas, gossip, envy, and fear enter your mind and camp there? Guard your space, guard your energy. You are the gatekeeper. Every distraction you entertain is something you've allowed, And understand, not everyone will applaud your transformation. In fact, your silence will offend those who were only comfortable with the distracted, diluted version of you. The version that said yes too often, the version that fit their narrative. When you stop answering every message, attending every event, watching every show, responding to every comment, they'll call you arrogant, detached, even selfish. Let them, because their definition of selfishness is often just your decision to prioritize purpose over people. Pleasing. You are not here to live in reaction. You are here to live in design, and your design begins when you start engineering your days like an architect building a temple. Precision, discipline, awareness, that's how greatness is constructed. Not in chaos, but in clarity. Look around. There are people with less intelligence than you, less talent, less opportunity. And yet they are ahead. Why? Because they don't waste time arguing with mediocrity. They don't get pulled into endless debates with themselves. They move, they act, they fall forward, they focus. Meanwhile, the dreamers who never wake up to discipline are still stuck in potential, still hoping life gets easier before they get stronger. But life won't slow down. It won't pause to give you the perfect conditions. That's why your focus has to be stronger than your feelings, because feelings are fleeting. Motivation is unpredictable. Some days you won't feel like showing up. Do it anyway. Some mornings you'll feel tired, confused, overwhelmed. Show up anyway. Your results don't care how you feel. They only reflect what you did. The truth is, nobody is coming to save you. No one will walk into your life and organize your schedule, guard your time, silence your distractions, or build your discipline. That job belongs to you. You can either spend your life reacting to the noise, or you can become the kind of person who moves in alignment, regardless of what the world is doing. And once you start living this way, something incredible happens. You develop inner peace. Not the fake kind that comes from pretending everything's okay, but the real kind, the kind that comes from knowing you're doing what you're meant to do. You're not perfect, but you're present. You're not finished, but you're focused. You're not everything you could be, but you're becoming, and that process, that becoming, is the most sacred work you'll ever do. It is the only work that will never betray you. Money may come and go. People may come and go. Opportunities may come and go. But the person you build when no one is watching, the character, the habits, the mindset, that person stays. That person is your anchor when storms hit. That person is your advantage when opportunities arise. You have to live in such a way that your actions speak louder than your apologies ever could, that your commitment whispers in the silence and roars in the results, because when you stay focused, you don't need to prove anything. Your presence, your energy, your discipline, they all speak for you. People can feel when someone is locked in. There's a different fire in their eyes, a calm certainty in their movements, a magnetic energy that comes from knowing you're walking in purpose. But none of that is possible if you're giving away your time like it's worthless. You've got to become obsessed with using every moment as a tool, not a toy. While others are numbing themselves with entertainment, you must be refining yourself with education. While they seek validation, you build value. While they waste time, you multiply it through focus, systems, habits, and intention. You can no longer afford to be casual with your life. Casual effort creates casualties. Half interest builds half results. You don't rise by dabbling. You rise by dominating your lane with consistency, clarity, and an unstoppable work ethic. And you've got to stop explaining that to people who are committed to misunderstanding it. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're focused. You don't owe anyone comfort at the cost of your calling. Let them talk. Let them judge. While they're caught up in distractions, you're busy designing destiny. And don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for someone to say, now you're ready. The moment you decide you're done wasting time is the moment you are ready. The battlefield of your future is determined by the discipline of today. Not tomorrow, not next month, not when it's convenient, now. And here's the truth most won't tell you. Nobody is going to feel sorry for the time you lost. Life doesn't hand out refunds. You don't get extra hours because you spent the last ones scrolling, procrastinating, doubting, overthinking. No one will pause the game to let you catch up. That's why now matters. That's why this moment, this decision, is everything, and don't confuse movement with progress. You can be busy and still going nowhere. You can be surrounded by noise, buried in tasks, yet not a single one of them moves your life forward. That's what happens when you let the urgent overpower the important. You become a slave to distractions dressed as responsibilities. But when you're focused, truly focused, you learn to say no to the noise, no matter how loud it screams for your attention. And here's something else. Stop trying to be everywhere. Stop spreading your energy so thin that nothing you touch truly grows. Focus is the power of saying no to 10 things so you can say yes to the one thing that matters, the one thing that moves the needle, the one thing that unlocks everything else. You have to stop multitasking your life away. You're not meant to do everything. You're meant to do what matters. Greatness doesn't come from doing 100 things poorly. It comes from doing one thing with such obsession, such commitment, that the world has no choice but to take notice. And while the world tells you to hustle harder, work faster, sleep less, you must go deeper. Slow down internally to speed up externally. Silence the noise so you can hear the signal. Tune out the world's expectations so you can tune in to your purpose. Because focus isn't about intensity alone, it's about direction. What good is your energy if it's aimed in the wrong direction? You must learn to isolate your mind like a warrior preparing for battle. Eliminate what doesn't align, discard what doesn't serve. There is power in simplification, power in trimming the fat, clearing the clutter, cutting away the excess until only the essential remains, until all that's left is the mission, the vision, the purpose, and you walking toward it with unstoppable clarity. But you won't find that clarity until you stop escaping into distractions, until you confront your own patterns, until you ask yourself, what am I really avoiding? Because most wasted time is not about laziness. It's about fear, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of responsibility, fear of standing alone. But your freedom is on the other side of that fear, and the only way out is through. Don't negotiate with procrastination. Don't argue with doubt. Don't flirt with the familiar just because it's easy. You've got to break up with the version of you that settles, that justifies, that delays. You've got to outgrow your excuses, bury your distractions, and resurrect your discipline. Because every time you ignore what you should be doing, you reinforce the habit of avoidance. Every time you trade growth for comfort, you strengthen the chains that keep you average. And soon you start convincing yourself that you weren't meant for more, that this is just how life is. But that's a lie. That's the voice of your lower self trying to protect you from the pain of effort, the pain of discipline. But what it never tells you is that the pain of regret will be far worse. So you need to become ruthless with your time, fierce with your energy, unapologetic with your focus. If it doesn't build you, it doesn't belong. If it doesn't align, let it go. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to your destiny. You're not here to be liked. You're here to win. You're not here to coast. You're here to conquer. The clock doesn't pause for hesitation. Life doesn't hand success to the indecisive. You have to claim it. You have to chase it. You have to create it. And you do that by becoming obsessed with mastering yourself. Not once, but every day, not when it's easy, but especially when it's hard, not until you're tired, but until you're transformed, and don't you dare compare your journey to anyone else's. Their timeline is not your measure. Their pace is not your standard. Stay in your lane. Keep your eyes on your work. Track your progress, not their approval, because the only competition that matters is between who you are now and who you're becoming. You are in a race against time, and your only weapon is focus, not hustle without direction, not grind without intention, but strategic, disciplined, focused effort, every day, every hour, every decision. You see, discipline isn't a mood, it's a decision. It's waking up and doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel, because if you only move when it's comfortable, you'll never move far. Growth demands sacrifice. And the first thing it demands is your comfort, your old habits, your need for constant stimulation, the part of you that seeks easy routes and painless shortcuts. That part has to die so that a new version of you can live, a focused, powerful, unshakable version. And this new version doesn't check who's watching. This version doesn't wait for applause or permission. It just executes quietly, daily, relentlessly, because real success isn't loud, it's consistent. It's built when no one's looking, when no one's clapping, when nobody believes in you but you. And that's the kind of focus you need, the kind that keeps showing up even when motivation disappears, the kind that stays locked in when the results aren't immediate, because that's where most people quit. They start something, get bored, get distracted, and move on to the next thing. But not you, not anymore. From now on, you finish what you start. You see it through. You follow the path, not the mood.